The number one question that I get from people relocating to Chattanooga is this: what are the safest neighborhoods? Now, here's the problem is that I can't legally answer that question the way that you think that I can because of fair housing laws. But what I can show you are 3 tools that my clients use to research this themselves. And one of them is going to reveal something shocking about Chattanooga that most people never discover. I'm Chris Roberts, your Southeast Tennessee relocation specialist, and today I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes of exactly how my clients research neighborhood safety. We're going to test these tools on 3 completely different areas, and by the end, you'll know more about Chattanooga safety than 90% of the people considering a move here. But before we dive in, if you're researching a move to this area, go ahead and grab my free relocation guide below. It's going to include some neighborhood insights and some really great restaurants that you're not going to find anywhere else. And if you're getting serious about relocating, there is a link to schedule a consultation with me as well right below. Now, here's what we're doing today. We're testing these tools on Cambridge Square in Ooltewah, Orchard Knob, which is near downtown Chattanooga, and the Candies Creek area of Cleveland. 3 totally different vibes and 3 totally different stories. Go ahead and comment right now when you hear safe neighborhood, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Now first, let me tell you what my clients really mean when they say safe. It's not always what you think. And understanding this difference is going to change how you evaluate any neighborhood. Stick around because at the end, I'm going to share one factor that predicts neighborhood safety better than a lot of crime stats. It's something that you can see just by driving through. All right, let's start with the tool that everybody loves to use first, NeighborhoodScout. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up live right now. We've got this comprehensive neighborhood report, and you can go ahead and download these for any neighborhoods that you want. And they cost about $30 each to be able to dive into all of these really great statistics about the different neighborhoods. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right over to the crime section about this neighborhood in Ooltewah. And the town center neighborhood is going to be where Cambridge Square is. So this is going to be the hub of activity that's happening in Ooltewah. We've got your Walmart and all of your stores, your Chick-fil-A's, and then the wonderful Cambridge Square that I always love to talk about. So here you can see that it is going to be looking over all of these different vital statistics here. And so one thing that people do love is that this breaks down the crime per 1,000 residents and gives you those numbers against the national average. And just remember too that national average is going to include all cities that are known to have higher crime rates throughout the whole country. And also something people often miss about this data is that it is somewhat lagging by a decent amount. So it's going to be uploaded every fall, and it's going to be using the previous year's data. So right now they haven't uploaded the new data. So what we're looking at is from 2023. And so here in the Cambridge Square area of Ooltewah, you can see our crimes per square mile is at 5, and Ooltewah as a whole is just at 3. So why are we a little bit higher in the Cambridge Square area? Simply because there is more activity happening there. So there's just more of a chance for it to happen. Now our national median is 26.5 crimes per square mile, and Tennessee here is just at 16 for the state. And now when we look at violent crimes, and so violent crimes are going to be anything that has the threat or use of force, like aggravated assault, murder, etc. The rest of the crimes are going to be things like property theft, and they're going to be mostly from unsecured property, like a bike in the driveway, or even that coveted garden gnome that you have in your front yard. And so this violent crime comparison here, we've got 1 per 1,000 residents in all of 2023 in Ooltewah. And this 0 here for Ooltewah, I'm not sure, there might be an error in the reporting because I don't see how we could have 1 here but then none in Ooltewah. And so as you can see here, the chances of becoming a victim of violent crime in Ooltewah, this is going to be one of the lowest chances of anywhere in the whole state of Tennessee. Now, property crime, like I'd mentioned before, coming mostly from unsecured belongings, the town center area here, which is again that major hub of activity, we're going to be at 8.76. The national median is at 19, and Ooltewah as a whole, 4.39. So really relatively low chances of becoming victims of property crime in Ooltewah. Now, watch what happens when I search in Orchard Knob, a little neighborhood here in Chattanooga. It's a completely different picture, right? This is definitely an area that's starting to see some transition, and I honestly really love a lot of the architecture in this part of town, and I am super happy to see that some of these houses are becoming revitalized. So you can see here that the total crime index is at a 2, with 100 being the safe. So this does have some of the highest overall crime in the area. Violent crime is at a 3, 100 being the safest. So yes, Orchard Knob is not going to be nearly as safe as an area by the numbers as Ooltewah is going to be. And so here you see our crimes per square mile in the neighborhood of Orchard Knob is 235, and Chattanooga as a whole at 77. Now our violent crimes per 1,000 residents in Orchard Knob is at a 17.12, the whole state at a 6.28. So this is going to be a neighborhood where, by the numbers, you're going to have some of the highest chances of becoming a victim of violent crime. And now property crime, as we had talked about earlier, as being unsecured belongings, you can understand how it would be higher in a much more densely populated area like Orchard Knob, which is real close to downtown here in Chattanooga. What people love about Neighborhood Scout is that it breaks down crime per 1,000 residents and gives you those color-coded heat maps to see exactly how each area compares against national averages. That makes it easy to put numbers in perspective. But here's what most people miss. This data is aggregated annually, so it can feel a little dated. But before you make any decisions based on this, let me show you the second tool because it reveals something Neighborhood Scout doesn't. Pause the video right now and think, do you make decisions based on data, or do you need to feel a place out in person? Let me know below in the comments. Now, tool number 2 is one that is kind of just a down and dirty map called SpotCrime.com. Now they're going to pull data from the 911 call centers, and unlike Neighborhood Scout, this is basically real-time information, and it's going to give you sometimes just a few weeks up to a few months worth of data. And so that is what I really like about this one, because it's accurate up to the minute. So just like the name implies, this is picking this spot in time and mapping out that crime. So let's go ahead and take a look at our Candies Creek area of Cleveland, which is going to be this Hopewell area. So as you can see, not much to see here. Over here near Georgetown, we've got a theft, and that was from back in April of 2025 that was reported. And these guys here, those are just theft markers. So we had a little bit of activity happen in Georgetown, and this was all within the past few months. And then when we go ahead and check our Orchard Knob, you can see there is a little bit more activity happening here, just as we had expected from looking at our report on Neighborhood Scout. But as you can see here, Orchard Knob really doesn't have a whole ton happening in it. A lot of it is just around it. And so you'll have things like assaults, we'll have shootings, and we'll have thefts. And so again, this is a lot that's happening around this particular neighborhood and not necessarily right in the neighborhood. And then as we go to check out Cambridge Square in Ooltewah, which is going to be right in here, we can see that we had a little bit of activity in August, a theft to report, and an assault to report back in August as well. And outside of that, not too much activity. And this is the kind of stuff that you have to always take into account with there being activity happening. So Cambridge Square is busy. So the likelihood of something happening there is much higher than it would be somewhere out in a very rural setting. Now, the third tool is kind of unconventional, but I've really found it to be super helpful, and that is the Chattanooga subreddit. Now, this isn't about numbers. It's about real people asking questions like, what's it like to live here? And where's your favorite burger joint? You can ask neighborhood-specific questions or general area questions, and the chances are super high that you'll get some solid responses from people who actually live right in the area that you're asking about. Now, I personally don't always take everything that Reddit has to say as gospel, and I would really advise the same for you. So that's why I like to take those personal recommendations and insights into account along with the statistical information of past trends like NeighborhoodScout and up-to-the-minute insights from SpotCrime. And now inside of the Chattanooga subreddit, you could search specifically for Cambridge Square and see what's coming up. So as you can see, new construction, bougie neighborhoods to live, because it is a high-end neighborhood in there. And then we could even look at places like Orchard Knob and see what people are talking about. Is Orchard Knob a safe area? And that was 10 years ago. The Orchard Knob neighborhood. So again, people are talking about Orchard Knob here. And as we had talked about earlier, looking at NeighborhoodScout and SpotCrime, a lot of it probably is going to be related to the crime rates in that area. Now, here's the power move. Don't rely on just one of these tools, layer them together. Now, let's tackle the elephant in the room. Is Chattanooga safe? The myth is that Chattanooga is unsafe. The reality is that crime here is higher per capita than some similar cities, but it's highly concentrated in specific areas that you can identify with these tools. Here's what most people miss. When you zoom out on a crime map, the whole city looks concerning. But when you zoom in on the neighborhood level, the picture changes dramatically. Suburban Ooltewah, East Brainerd, and most of Cleveland have numbers that are comparable to Knoxville, Huntsville, or Murfreesboro. The mistake that people make is painting the entire city with that same brush. But here's what I promised you earlier. The factor that predicts safety better than most crime stats. Numbers are only going to tell part of the story, and here's what my clients are really looking for. You can use schools as safety indicators. Strong schools don't just mean education, they indicate community investment. Ooltewah has East Hamilton High. Cleveland has Bradley Central and Walker Valley. Orchard Knob is near Chattanooga School for Arts and Sciences. And then you've got commute patterns. Cambridge Square is going to be about 25 minutes to downtown Chattanooga, maybe 30 minutes into Orchard Knob, and just about the same into downtown Cleveland. Shorter commutes often mean more community engagement. And then we've got the design factor. Here is that secret factor that I mentioned: walkability and design. Sidewalks, street lighting, mixed-use areas, parks that are within walking distance. These create natural safety through activity and community presence. Cambridge Square was designed with this in mind, and parts of Cleveland, they have it naturally. Orchard Knob is building it through renovation and community investment. So drop a comment below. Let me know what matters more to your family, shorter commutes or a quieter neighborhood. Now, let me share what families actually tell me about their decision process. I had a family moving from Atlanta that said we wanted the lowest crime stats possible. Then we realized that we valued walkability and community more than just the perfect numbers. And I had a family moving from Western Tennessee that said Orchard Knob just felt a little too transitional on paper, but when we drove through during the evening hours and saw the neighbors talking on porches, we got it. And I had a family moving from Illinois that said Cleveland, it just felt a little too quiet until we realized that that's just exactly what our kids needed. Space to be kids without constant worry. Every family is going to weigh these factors a little differently, and the tools, they're going to give you data, but you have to decide what matters most for your lifestyle. So here's your action plan. Step 1, use all 3 of these tools: NeighborhoodScout for the baseline data, SpotCrime for those visual trends and resident stories, and Chattanooga subreddit for those community conversations. Step 2, look beyond those crime stats. Consider schools, commute patterns, and walkability. Step 3, visit in person at different times throughout the week and the day. During the morning commute, afternoon school pickup, and those evening hours. Step 4, talk to locals. Stop by a coffee shop or a grocery store and listen to how people talk about their community. The real question isn't, is this neighborhood safe? It's, does this neighborhood support the lifestyle that I want? At the end of the day, safety isn't just about numbers. It's about finding a place where you feel excited to build your life. If you're considering a move to Chattanooga, Cleveland, or Ooltewah, I would love to help you navigate this process in person. My number is right here on the screen, and there's a link right below to schedule a consultation with me. And grab that free relocation guide. It's going to include some neighborhood insights and resources that go way beyond what you'll find on any website. Now you know how to research neighborhood safety like a pro, but once you've found your area, the next question is, what do homes actually look like here and what can I afford? I've put together a playlist of Tennessee home tours that show exactly what your money buys in each of these areas. So go ahead and click the playlist appearing now to start visualizing your life right here in Southeast Tennessee.